Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the first virtual concert given by members of Bach and Baroque. My name is Chris Parsons, and I'm the director of Bach and Baroque, and we're really pleased that you've been able to join us today. And whilst, of course, we wish we were able to be giving this concert in person in one of the many wonderful venues that we've often visited, we hope this can be a form of keeping live music going in the weeks ahead. So please sit back and relax with a drink in the comfort of your own home. Before we begin with our Leipzig Coffee House themed concert, just a few logistical announcements, if I may. Firstly, welcome to Zoom, a platform which we're finding to be extremely useful at the moment. Due to the time lag, it is impossible to perform together, so all the music today is solo works. During some testing we've been doing, we found that when people turn off their videos, this helps with the smooth running of the connection. So audience, I hope you don't mind, but we've turned your videos off to help this. And we've also muted you. We'd have liked to have kept the audience noise possible, but found if we did, it made Zoom get a bit overloaded. So you can cough and chat as much as you like whilst listening, and you don't even have to turn off your mobile phones. There's also the reaction button to virtually clap or give a thumbs up, and we encourage you to use this whenever you feel like it. You can dance around the room as much as you like, and nobody will see you. I'm delighted that we have 4 wonderful musicians today performing, all currently based around the UK. When each performer is playing, they will be spotlighted so that their screen should become the main view on yours. During this concert, I'll be guiding us through with some background on the music and the composers and sharing pictures on the screen, a form of virtual program notes. And so now to our concert. Our theme focuses on the Zimmermann Coffee House concerts given in Leipzig at the start of the 18th century. And you'll see a picture here of Zimmermann's Coffee House. These concerts became a huge success and were first organised by Telemann and taken over by Bach in the late 1720s. The Leipzig Collegium Musicum, which was a mix of student and professional performers, would give concerts every Friday evening in the coffee house to great acclaim. And in the summer, they would head out to Zimmermann's Coffee Garden for open-air concerts. The concerts were a real mix of styles that of course featured the music of Bach and Telemann, but also Italian opera arias, chamber music, orchestral pieces, and secular cantatas from many composers. And our concert today is really a homage to Bach and Telemann for their innovation for setting up these concerts. We've got solo music by both composers, and we'll start with a selection from Bach's cello suites. There's Bach himself. These 6 wonderful suites were composed whilst Bach was director of music in Curtin before his big move to Leipzig. And I'll now hand over to Miri Knoll, our cellist, to explain a little more.
Hello from my living room in London to wherever you may be watching. I'm going to play the Saraband and the Gigue from Bach's suite in G major. Given that this is a slightly unusual concert setting and it's very exciting to be trying it out, feel free to, as Chris said, get up and move around if you so wish, tech permitting.
Thanks to Miri there for that wonderful performance, and we'll be returning later to some more of Bach's cello suites. But we'll continue with our Bach theme now, and I'll pass over to Miriam Monaghan, who's going to be playing one of his solo partitas.
Hello, I'm Miriam and I'm playing today from my house in Wembley. I'm going to play the first and last movement from Bach's partita for the flute, even though I'm actually a recorder player. It was really common in the Baroque period for composers to take a real businessman stance and republish works for different instruments, and recorder players are often thought of as history's magpies, in that we love to steal other instruments' repertoire and sort of move it around and make it work for us. So this is Bach's Partita. I'll play the first movement, which is an allemande, and the last movement, which is a bourrée anglaise, lovely and jolly, which I think we all need right now.
Thanks very much to Miriam there for that wonderful rendition of a Bach partita. So now we move to Telemann, and perhaps surprisingly, he was the bigger name in Germany in the 18th century rather than Bach. He moved around quite a lot before settling in Hamburg, where he was musical director of the 5 largest churches in the city. And there is Telemann himself, and there is Hamburg in the 18th century. This was a prestigious post to hold, and though it brought almost limitless opportunities to perform and compose, but no doubt it was rather hectic. He was required to compose 2 cantatas a week, to produce a new passion annually, and to provide occasional works for church and civil ceremonies. In fact, he very nearly took the job that Bach would take in Leipzig, but Hamburg upped his wage and he stayed put. There's the famous Thomaskirche in Leipzig that we can see now, where of course Bach made his name. But back to Telemann. Telemann wrote vast amounts of repertoire, and with publishing of music really starting to take off, he made the most of it. He would write pieces that would be suitable for amateur musicians to perform, and a quote from his autobiography goes as follows: "A piece which has witchery in its pages and contains many hard passages is a burden to perform and often causes grimaces. I say further, he who can be useful to many does better than he who writes only for a few. What is easy serves everyone, so it would be best to stay with that." It's also worth noting that Telemann published his autobiography at age just 37, and perhaps shows nothing has changed today with celebrities. I'll now hand over to Kirsty, our violinist for today, who's going to be talking a little bit about the Telemann she's going to be playing.
Hi everybody, I am coming to you from Scotland. I'm in Edinburgh at home right now. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's so great for us to still have the opportunity to play for you, even despite everything that's going on at the moment. I'm going to play, as Chris said, some Telemann. I'm going to play the first Fantasia for solo violin without bass. It's in B flat major. And these solo fantasias for violin were published in 1735. I'm playing on my Baroque violin here, which, although it's a modern replica, this one was made in 2015. It was actually based on, it's a model of a Santo Serafino, which would also have been made in 1735, so the same year as these pieces were published. So this Fantasia has a largo for the first movement, then an allegro, a grave, followed by a repeat of the allegro. So the first solo Fantasia in B flat major.
Turning off it now. Oh, look at him, he just there. We're not.
Thank you very much to Kirsty there as well. We'll be continuing with our Telemann theme in a moment. We're enjoying the rowdy audience there. I think composers and musicians in the 18th century would have had a great deal to deal with. Concerts in the 18th century were more than just going to watch the concert, shall we say. And I think we'll probably leave it at that. Lots and lots of things would happen. And the audience would usually be, as today, expected to kind of wander around the theatres and really enjoy the music as a kind of secondary thing. It was more an important thing of meeting people in society, a real way to kind of meet and greet the important people and maybe get a chance to meet the famous composers of the day. So we'll continue with Telemann and we'll head over to Katie and her Baroque oboe. And for followers of our concerts before, you'll know that we perform on period instruments, so that the instruments you've seen already, slightly different setups to what you would usually expect to see in the modern forms today. And indeed, over the weeks to come, we'll be introducing you further to some of these wonderful instruments. I've got here very briefly to show you my Baroque trumpet, which will be making an appearance in some concerts in the coming weeks. They're really rather different. And I'll hand over to Katie to explain about the Telemann she's going to be playing, but also a little bit about her Baroque oboe as well.
Hello everyone, welcome to my living room in Cambridge. A special welcome to you if you, for any children watching, if you're under 12, maybe give a wave with your reaction button. It's really cool to have you with us and to be able to share music with you during school time. So like Chris said, here is my Baroque oboe. Now, one of the advantages of doing this over screen is that I can show you my modern oboe at the same time and quite close up. So here is my modern oboe. As you can see, it's got loads and loads and loads and loads of keys. And my Baroque oboe doesn't really have many, it just has a couple down the bottom. But actually the insides of the instrument are really similar. So although the keys have changed, lots about the instrument hasn't changed. So this is my Baroque one that I'm going to play today. And I just have a reed stick in the top. Now I'm like Kirsty, I'm also going to play a piece by Telemann called a Fantasia. And a Fantasia, a bit like a fantasy novel or a film, is about using your imagination. So Telemann, the composer, he thought of some musical ideas and then he would see where his imagination took them. So I'd love to encourage you to use your imagination as you listen to this piece. And I love that it's got loads of different characters. Maybe see what characters you imagine, pop them in the chat. I'd love to know where your imagination takes you. And you may find that it's helpful to grab some paper and draw where the music goes, or like we said earlier, move around, use your body to show what the music does. But here's one of Telemann's solo fantasias, originally for flute, but like Miriam, I'm stealing it for the oboe.
Thank you very much to Katie there. Some beautiful oboe playing. Just before I hand over to Miri to conclude our concert with some Bach again, just a few final words about our upcoming plans. We're really delighted to have so many of you join us today. We're up to 90 participants, which is really, really wonderful. The point of these concerts, as I said at the start, is to keep live music going, both for the musicians and for audiences alike. And we've got future programs in the works. So do keep an eye out on our website and social media about how you can watch these, lots of different themes. The plan for the next one is on the 10th of April. So in a couple of weeks' time, it's going to be an English-themed concert. So lots of lovely folk music. And again, we're delighted to be featuring another member of Ibarak and Baroque, the singer John Holland Avery, who'll be joining us to sing some lovely folk songs in that one. This concert has also been recorded too, so it'll be available to watch again on YouTube, technologically allowing. We'll get that up as soon as we can. And please do share this with your family and friends. We've also created a Spotify playlist, which we'll be sharing on our social media. And that's very similar to music what you've heard today that would have been performed in the Leipzig Coffee House. We plan to be doing a couple of performances this year of Bach's Coffee Cantata, including at Hot Numbers Coffee Shop in Cambridge. We will be bringing these back, but you can listen to it on Spotify in the meantime to whet your appetite for a future concert. And again, just a final bit of detail going forward, we're going to be having some spotlight concerts, so slightly shorter concerts that feature instruments that play in the ensemble usually. And also some online lectures. I'm going to be doing a little lecture about Handel operas in the weeks to come as well. So do look out for that. And these concerts, importantly, will remain free of charge. But at the end of each one, we're going to be posting a link to a charity that you may like to consider to give a small donation to during this difficult time. And our charity for this concert is Help Musicians UK. And I'll be posting the link into the chat element of Zoom, so you can have a look on their websites. And I'll also be sending the link to the Ibarakan website and indeed our email address, because we'd love to have some feedback on this first concert. So if you've got Twitter or Facebook, do give us a mention or do drop us an email directly, because we'd love to hear from you. So we're going to conclude with our coffee-themed programme by going back to Bach. And I'll hand back to Miri to tell you a little bit about the suite she's going to play for you now.
Hello again. I'm going to finish this concert with the Bourrée and Gigue from the suite in C major. The Bourrée is a dance of French origins. It's been referred to in the past as a clog dance, a French clog dance. It's in 2 with a characteristic upbeat. And the Gigue traditionally finishes a dance suite, and this is how we'll end today's concert.
Thanks to Miri there for that lovely conclusion to our Bach and Telemann concert. We hope that we've been able to transport you back to Leipzig and enjoy a coffee in your own home and emulating the coffee concerts given by Bach and Telemann. Just a final little thing to say as well, that we'll be doing some question and answer sessions in the weeks to come. The great enjoyment of Zoom is that we can go off into breakout rooms. So indeed, if you've got any questions in future concerts, do get in touch, but do feel free to post in the chat. And I've sent a message across now where you can find out about how to get onto our website and indeed a small donation to Help Musicians UK. We'd also finally like to encourage audience at the end of concerts to switch on your video, and we'll give everyone a virtual wave to say hello. So if you like now, do feel free to switch on your video and give us a wave. Thank you very much and take care.